So they did go ahead and advance the session. So cars are starting to grid up now. Starting lineup puts Ryan Seams on the pole, the 131 machine, 15:08 the qualifying time. To his outside, it'll be Chris Johnson in the 118.
Starting row 2, we do have Richie Helger in the 99 machine with Bryce Beatty from the Northwest. Don't see many guys from the Northwest up here. You know, I'll be rooting for Bryce there. He will be starting P4 in the number 7.
Inside row number 3, Dylan Calabro in the 71. To his outside, it'll be Frank Klein in the 33.
And starting P7, we do have Josh Doobie with Fast Track Motorsports there. And to his outside, Preston DeMillo. Haven't seen him on track in quite a while here. Preston is starting 8th.
And rounding out the field, inside of row number 5, 39 car of James Johnson. And starting shotgun on the field, 15:50 the qualifying time for the 55 of Albert Hewins. Rounding out the field, 10 cars in the lineup, 8 cars advanced to tomorrow night's main event.
Alright guys, we will get 2 pace laps here before Ryan does take them to the green. 8 transfer. It's definitely going to be interesting to watch and see, you know, who's going to be in that transfer position here probably with about 20 laps to go and what they're going to be able to do to get going.
Yeah, I expect everybody to kind of just file in and ride for a while. In the last 15 to 20, I think it's going to get pretty wild.
And they are off. We are green flag racing here. Ryan Seams does get out to a little bit of a lead, and oh, we are already in the mud here. We do have Mr. Chris Johnson. What happened here? Looks like Chris trying to work on that high side, and the 7 car of Bryce Beatty does spin him around. Frank Klein does get caught up in that as well here. They didn't even complete a lap, didn't even complete a turn tonight. And we already have some carnage. Definitely going to be shake up the field a little bit. I'm imagining Chris Johnson, Bryce Beatty, and Frank Klein will all be heading to the back. Looks like Frank Klein is in the pits. Wonder if he's just getting his damage here. Needs to jump off pit lane fairly quickly or he will be going laps down here. Looks like he will beat the pace car off. So he should be able to tag the back of the field. Jim Johnson does come down to pit road as well. I didn't see Jim get caught up in that, but he might have had a little bit of damage here. You know, I don't see any reason for them to be jumping down on the pit road so quickly. Once we get one to go here, Bryce and Chris Johnson should be waved around the pace car. Jim Johnson does make it out without going a lap down. Can't say the same for Frank. He did go 1 lap down from what I am seeing.
That's what I've got on my screen as well. Is got Frank 1 lap down, everybody else on the lead lap. So that'll make it a little bit tougher to obtain the 2 more spots he needs to transfer into the main event.
Definitely going to be something to watch here. We might have some more cautions. You know, judging by the way things have already happened, I'd say that's a pretty good bet. And Frank might get the wave around there. They do release Bryce Beatty and Mr. Chris Johnson to tag the back of the field. With them not going a lap down here, they are still in the fight.
All right, pace truck's back off. Seems to lead us back to the green again.
Oh, they wave it off for one more lap
start
here. Possibly to let Bryce and Chris catch up here and get formed with the field. Crazy iRacing pace truck trying to come out and, you know, catch up to the field here. So When we go green, we will have Ryan Seams on the pole, Richie Hegler on the outside, Dylan Calabro on starting third, with Josh Doobie working his way up to fourth here. So that will be your top four, with Albert Human in fifth, Preston DeMello in sixth, Jimmy Johnson running in seventh, Bryce Beatty and Chris Johnson eighth and ninth, with Frank Klein in 10th, 1 lap down. Pace truck is off. It's in the restart zone, and we are green flag racing as Seams leads them back into turn one. Let's see if we can play nicely here, boys. They do
a little
make
bit
it
of contact
through.
further back out of turn two, but it seems like we're all pointed the right direction still.
Yeah, and we do have officially one green flag lap now. Ryan Seams followed by Richie Hegler there, running almost identical times. There's going to be a lot of close racing here. See how much they want to push this issue.
I don't see a lot of the guys towards the front really wanting to push the issue till you know, a little bit later in the race. As long as you're in for the transfer, you start fighting for spots a little later on. But you know, my strategy as a driver would be just ride it at this point, just try to make your way in.
You know, making your way in, that's definitely the first priority, but you definitely want to have that good starting position. So these guys are fighting for 14th through 21st tonight. And I don't know about you, Andrew, I'd rather be starting 14th than 21st.
Oh, especially here, you know, as you see, it's single files out around the Oxford Plains Speedway. Very short, very flat, very little room to pass without somebody making a mistake or you moving them.
Yeah, it's definitely one that you have to take your opportunities whenever you can. The racing line is right there on that low line. Very, like we were talking last night, this is a very rhythm-driven track. You have to hit your marks consistently, and these guys are getting around here in 15 seconds. There's not much time to think.
No, not at all.
Guys, as the cars have single filed off here, coming to 18 laps down, we do have Ryan Seams in the lead, Richie Hegler in second, Dylan Calabro in third, followed closely by Joshua Doobie here, Preston DeMello in fifth, Jimmy Johnson sixth, Bryce Beatty, Albert Hewins, and Chris Johnson rounding out the field, with Frank Klein bringing up the rear 1 lap down. Frank's definitely looking for a caution here, hoping to get, you know, some sort of wave around, but it may not matter here because he's fallen way off the pace, and he's going to be a lap car here pretty soon. Definitely something to watch out for here, because if he wants to block the track, he's more than able to, and force these leaders to go to the outside line. You know, that's well within his power. I personally, I wouldn't do it, especially at a track like Oxford, because that's just begging for the leaders to bump you and move you. But we've raced with Frank Klein before.
And there's the yellow.
Oh, we do have a crash between Albert Hewins and Jim Johnson here. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Johnson up on that high side, trying to come around. Oh, just two guys fighting for the same real estate. Albert Hewins looking on his inside, trying to get the momentum to get around him on the front stretch. Just doesn't work, and Jim Johnson and Albert Hewins do go around. Two guys that are very familiar with racing with each other, running there in XCal. Johnson does go down the pit road here. All you gotta say, Nick, just get your car off the track, bud. Just get your car. Like, you can't park there, dude. Come on now. All right, guys. 24 laps down. We did have a little brief green flag stint there. Now, Jim had to go down for damage.
And Frank Klein is going to get his lap back, put him back on the lead lap, in contention for transfer spot.
That's definitely a good thing for Frank here. Definitely getting into the later stages of this race, it's one of those, if you can just keep your nose clean, you're going to pick up a couple spots. And he may be able to pick up a couple and get into the coveted transfer spot here.
Possible. James Johnson back on pit road again.
Yeah, he's coming in. I'm assuming he's already used his fast repair. And he's just getting his damage fixed slowly here at a time, trying to get out before the pace truck comes around so he doesn't drop a lap here. Alright, guys. They are double file here. Let's go ahead and ride along for this restart with your leader, Ryan Seams. Pace truck does pull off in the restart zone. And green flag. You hear those revs just coming up as he's grabbing gears and driving her into one. You have a little bit of a side-by-side action back here. It's like Joshua Doobie and Preston Mello trying to figure it out here. Doobie's trying to hang on that high side. Definitely something hard to do here at Oxford. Chris Johnson will shoot to the inside. See if he can freight train Doobie here. Keep him pinned on that outside and get that position.
A little bit of contact between Johnson and Doobie there. Moves him up the track just enough to take the spot.
Yeah, that's one of the only ways to pass here, unfortunately. You're going to be seeing a lot of contact as Bryce Beatty does send it in there hard. Get a little bit of door-to-door action here between the 7 and 9 car. Doobie's definitely going to be remembering that later on.
And as we finally get them all single filed out, working lap 32, coming to lap 33 out of the 70-lap B-Main event already here at Oxford, it clicks off in a hurry.
Definitely a small track, 0.35 mile, just flat out in a field. You know, whoever came up with the idea for this track must have just had a field and said, hey, let's just wing it and have some fun. You know, my type of guys here probably built it drinking beer, but there's definitely a lot of action that's been had here at Oxford. It always brings out the best racing. You know, we saw a lot of respectful racing last night with the open wheels. Guys are getting a little bit more impatient now that they got fenders.
Oh yeah, you give the drivers fenders and bumpers and they're absolutely invincible.
Definitely something that we're going to have to watch tomorrow in the A feature when we're going to have 23 of these cars out here fighting for $200. You know, that's a lot of money on the line, and I don't think these guys are going to be too friendly with each other once everything gets going.
And got another yellow flag out. I believe that's going to be Frank Klein around on the back straightaway.
Now let's go see what happened to Mr. Frank here. Oh, him and Jim. Jim working the inside. Frank trying to pinch him down and keep it there. Frank just gave Jim no room. There's nowhere Jim could go on that one. Frank Klein does go around. He will be in the back once again here. Seeing some guys heading down pit road here. We got Joshua Doobie and Albert Hewins, you know, and Jim Johnson. Jim Johnson and Hewins, I can see I know they had a little bit of damage there. Doobie trying to get those fresh tires. Question is, he's just taking rights, guys. He's going to be out there on fresh right-hand tires. I don't know if that was really a great move, seeing as, you know, half of what we've had tonight has been caution laps. Those tires haven't been beat up as of yet.
Well, if you're already towards the back of the field and you're pretty confident in your transfer, you can try a little bit of tire strategy to see what works on some of these shorter runs. You know, so some of the guys can utilize as a test and tune session for tomorrow. You know, a little bit extra of track time, if you will.
Yeah, it's fixed setup, so they can't really, tune anything. But getting these extra 70 laps, it's definitely going to give them a little bit more of an advantage against the guys that did lock in already. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if any of these guys tomorrow are able to crack that top 13 and make it up there to possibly even fight for the win. Speaking of going into tomorrow, we have a pretty big list of guys here. So the top 13 have locked in. We do have Mr. Ryan Kuhn, last night's midget winner, on quick time with a 14.63. As we're about to go green flag racing here. Green flag is out. Ryan Steams will lead them into turn 1. Getting some side-by-side action here. Preston DeMillo puts the bumper to Richie Hagler. And it is carnage behind, man. We are back under yellow. These guys just need to calm it down here a little bit. A little too early to be throwing those bumpers. See if we can go back and see what exactly happened here. Go from the nose of Mr. Preston DeMillo. So Preston is working that inside here. He does have the line. And the 99 of Hegler just does not give him room. You know, I get these guys wanting to race here for position, but got to have a little bit more give and take here, guys. We do have Jim Johnson heading back into pit road. He's been fighting issues all night. You know, just having tons of damage on that 39 machine. Joshua Doobie going in. He is taking right side tires again. It might have been just a misclick of the mouse. Probably getting some damage there. He was... Oh, he's taking lefts too.
One of the beneficiaries of all the on-track excitement, if you will, Chris Johnson, had to go to the tail early on from the lap 1 catastrophe, and now he's currently running in the 3rd spot, as well as Bryce Beatty now up to 4th.
Yeah, definitely guys working their way back up. Got Sean Conklin in the chat here rooting for Preston DeMillo. Fortunately, Sean, Preston did get caught up in that last incident there. Just some hard racing between these guys. Just no give and take early on in this race.
So, looking at our driver entry list, Joshua Doobie has decided to call it a night, so that's going to free up, one more spot. Only one car left on track, not going to transfer into the A-Main here.
Unfortunately, Doobie is out of this one, but he can get into the last chance qualifier tomorrow. Definitely going to be watching out for that. The 9 car is always fast. As we get back, green flag racing here. We do have the 131 and 71 side by side going into one there. Chris Johnson does take that gap following Seams on that low line, gets around the 71. And now we might have a two-car battle here between our top two qualifiers of Ryan Seams and Chris Johnson.
Currently single filing out for the most part here around the Oxford Plains Speedway. Seams holding on to the lead. Chris Johnson running second, Helger in third. One car working a high side all by his lonesome back here. Looks like Albert Hewins. Hard to be given the bumper if you're the only one on the line. Crossing the stripe this time, we'll start working lap 53 of 70. So just short of 18 laps to go here at Oxford Plains Speedway for the B-Main.
Definitely going to have to watch these last two guys here, Jim Johnson and Albert Hewins, fighting for that last transfer spot. Hewins is giving Jim a run out on the outside there. A little bit of contact between the 28 and 33. Preston starting to get a little impatient, trying to work his way back up there. These guys are starting to lose it. We got 16 laps to go here. Johnson does get around Frank Klein, opening the door for that final transfer spot to be a fight between Frank Klein and Albert Hewins. Jump back up to our front here. We do have a battle between Chris Johnson and Ryan Seams. Again, these guys are familiar from XCal. Definitely going to be an interesting time watching these two and seeing if there is a last lap move. Oh, Johnson looking to that inside. He wants this win tonight. Now, even though this is to get into the big feature, we do have payouts for this, with the top 5 getting paid out. To win this race, it is $25. So these guys do have a little bit of stake on the line.
Pretty well still single filed out here. The only real battle on track is for the lead between Seams and Johnson. Johnson all over the back bumper. Ryan Seams has been the last couple of laps. A little bit of breathing room that time down the back straightaway and right back underneath him out of 3 and 4. And we're going to get 10 to go for Barney the flag man this time.
Johnson goes into 1 and 2, gives Seams a little bit of a bumper here. Johnson and Seams are running the same exact lap times here. Although Johnson does have one of the faster laps of the race, he does get that run.
A little bit of a move there.
Johnson saying, see you later. Here, Seams getting it done with the bump and run. May have gave Seams too much time here to get back on him and make a move for the win. Johnson having a little bit of a gap here. May start breaking away. He was almost 2/10 faster than Ryan Seams the last lap. We look in the back here. We did have an issue with Frank Klein. Let's go ahead and take a look there. Frank just gets loose coming off 2. He does give up the transfer spot there. And he's going to be lap traffic. Let's see if Seams might be able to work a pick move on Johnson for the win here. Or if Frank's just going to roll over and let these leaders go and duke it out.
We're going to find out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Out of turn number 4 this time. We'll be working 3 laps to go for Chris Johnson. Ryan Seams all over the back bumper. A little bit of contact there as they both skate their way down to turns 1 and 2. The leaders clear the lap car of Klein. 2 to go this time.
2 to go. Can Seams get up on that bumper and give it to Johnson? Johnson does hit the curb a little bit. That might give him the opening here. Johnson keeping it on that low line. Gets the run off. White flag out from Marty the flagman.
Johnson with a little bit of a gap down the back straightaway over Seams. Seams unable to close it back up. Your B-Main win is going to go to Chris Johnson.
Coming in second is Ryan Seams with Richie Hegler rounding out the top 3. Dylan Calabro will come in 4th. Bryce Beatty 5th. Preston DeMillo worked his way back up to 6th. Jim Johnson and Albert Hewins taking the final transfer spot tonight, guys. Let's give our leaders here time to get formed up, and we will pull in whoever we can for interviews tonight. All right. Let's go ahead and pull in our number 2 driver, Mr. Ryan Seams. Hey, Ryan, it's Ed and Andrew up here in the booth. You got us?
I got you.
Ryan, what a drive tonight, man. You were the dominant car for most of the night. It looked like you had a little bit of issues coming in the end. Did tires really make that big of a factor here tonight?
No, it really didn't. I just trying to take it easy and not let people get to my bumper, but I'm happy with the second place.
Well, you are locked in now. You should be starting 15th in tomorrow's 200 to win A feature. Definitely was a heck of a drive, heck of a, a journey to get here. You guys have been doing qualifiers all week. You're in the B-Main. Now you're locked into the A. Gonna get to relax a little bit with the Demolition Derby after this. Do you have any shout-outs you want to say?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Austin for hosting the 250 this year. This is my first time trying it out. It's a home track, so I figured I'd give it a whirl. And I'd like to thank Gerald Poole for my paint, Flame and Karma Paint Shops. And I'm excited for the race tomorrow.
Awesome, man. We will see you out there starting 15th tomorrow. That is not official, but you should be starting 15th from placing second in the B-Main. Heck of a drive tonight, Ryan. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys. You too.
All right, and with us now, we do have our event winner, Chris Johnson. Chris, it's Ed and Andrew in the booth. You got us?
Yes, I do.
So, Chris... go ahead, Andrew.
Go ahead, Ed.
Go,
one of us will go. We'll get there. Anyway, Chris.
Yeah.
Excellent. From the first lap catastrophe all the way to the tail of the field, all the way back to the front, a bit of a bump and run for the lead. Were you worried he was going to give it back to you at any point?
I was, and that's why he kept getting to my back bumpers. I was watching the mirror more than I was focused straight. I kind of figured he was going to bump me, which he did a couple times, but I don't know, I think I might have bumped him just a little too hard, but had to do what I had to do to get the win.
Well, either way, it all plays out for you pretty much the best it could. B-Main winner for you, so that should unofficially put you in a 14th starting spot for tomorrow night's A main event.
Heck yeah, we're going to go win that thing.
You care to share any sort of strategy, or is that going to be confidential within the race hauler?
No, my strategy is I'm going to save for the first half, just stay on the lead lap, and then make the hard charge at about the halfway point. Not really give two shits about the tires, just go for it.
Hey man, that sounds like as good a plan as any. That's why you guys are out there racing, and me and Ed are up here in the booth talking about it.
Yep, you guys are doing a hell of a job though. Enjoying the broadcast.
Oh, great to hear it, bud. Congratulations to you on the B-Main win. Hope to see you come back for the street stock Enduro or Demolition Derby, however you want to call it. And Chris Johnson, your
Oh, yeah.
Oxford 250 B-Main winner this evening.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys.
Hey, thank you, Chris. All right, guys, and like Andrew just said, we will be back here in a half hour with the street stock demolition event, 100 laps, no damage. These guys will be in the iRacing street stock here at Oxford. Gonna be a crazy time. Gonna be lots of damage. Gonna be a lot of flying cars because those berms can catch some air. We'll see you guys back here in a half hour.